beginner version of Everything You Want by Vertical Horizon. We'll go through the chords one by one so that we're familiar and comfortable with using them, and then move into how the song is played. Now the first thing you want to do before you start playing guitar is to be sure that your guitar is in tune. Today's song is played in E flat tuning, so if you have a digital tuner, it'd be great to just take all your strings and put them down one step. That means your E becomes an E flat, your A becomes an A flat, etc. Another thing you want to do before you start playing is to make sure your fingernails are cut nice and short. What that'll do is that'll make it easier for you to press down onto the strings, and then you can avoid any unnecessary buzzing or muting of the strings. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to number our fingers so that when I explain to you which fingers to put where to form each chord, you'll know exactly what I mean. Finger number 1 is our index finger, finger number 2 is our middle finger, finger number 3 is the ring finger, and then finger number 4 is our pinky. Now let's move into the chords used throughout the song. Alright, now there's 6 main chords. There's a few of them that are regular and there's a few of them that are a little odd, and if we don't play them the way they play them in the song, then it'll sound completely different than the original actual recording. So I'm going to show you pretty much the regular way to play them, but like I said, they're a little bit odd. So there's going to be 6 chords, like I said. The first one we're going to learn is the E minor.
The next chord, E minor, is only using 2 fingers. Whichever 2 fingers is most comfortable for you is what you should use.
Alright, so for the E minor, we're going to use finger number 1 and 2. Finger number 1, we're going to place here onto the 2nd fret on the A string. Finger number 2 is going to go right below it onto the 2nd fret of the D string. And we're going to play all 6 strings. And there's our E minor. The next one we're going to learn is one of the little different ones. It's called an E7 Suspend 4.
E7 Suspend 4 chord is a variation of the E and E7 chord.
Alright, so the E7 Suspend 4, we're going to use our finger number 1, 2, and 3. Now what we're going to do with finger number 1 is going to come here onto the same place it was for the E minor, the 2nd fret of the A string. Finger number 2 is going to skip a string and come down here onto the 2nd fret of the G string. Okay, and then finger number 3 is going to come down here onto the 3rd fret of the B string. Okay, and we're going to strike all 6 strings just like we did with the E minor, and it should sound like this. Okay, it's kind of like a sad sounding chord. The next one we're going to learn is really close to what a C add 9 is, but this one's called a C add 2.
The C add 2 chord is exactly like the C add 9 chord, except with an open high E string.
Okay, so the C add 2 is we're going to take fingers number 1 and 2, and we're going to place them almost in a G form, but they're going to be on the A string and the D string. So finger number 1, we're going to put onto the 2nd fret of the D string. Okay? Finger number 2 is going to come up here onto the A string on the 3rd fret, like so. And then finger number 3 is going to come down here onto the B string on the 3rd fret. Okay? And it should sound like this. The next one we're going to learn is an A minor.
The next chord we'll learn is an A minor, which also uses 3 fingers.
Alright, the A minor is going to use fingers number 1, 2, and 3. We're going to take finger number 1, it's going to go onto the 1st fret of the A string, the B string. Finger number 2 and 3 are going to come here onto the 2nd fret of the D string and the G string. The A minor should sound like this. Now I'm not actually pressing this down, I'm just making sure that I don't hit the big E string, because you're not supposed to play the big E string in an A chord, or in this case an A minor chord. The next one we're going to learn is a 4-finger G.
The next chord is a G major, or what I like to call a 4-finger G, where all 4 fingers are used.
Alright, so as you can imagine, the 4-finger G is going to use all 4 fingers. So what we're going to do is we're going to take finger number 1, it's going to be placed onto the 2nd fret of the A string. Finger number 2 is going to be placed onto the 3rd fret of our big E string. And then fingers number 3 and 4 are going to come down here onto the B string on the 3rd fret. And then finger number 4, the high E string on the 3rd fret. Okay? So put it all together and hit all 6 strings and it should sound like this. And the very last chord we're going to learn is called the D chord.
The next chord, D, uses only 3 fingers.
Alright, so the D chord uses fingers number 1, 2, and 3. What we're going to do is it's going to be down here onto the bottom 3 strings, the G, the B, and the high E. Finger number 1 will go onto the 2nd fret of the G string. Finger number 2 is going to skip a string and come down here onto the high E string on the 2nd fret. And then finger number 3 is going to come down here onto the 3rd fret this time on the B string. Put it all together and it should sound like so. Okay? Now let's move into the intro of the song. Okay, now because this is a beginner version of this song, the intro that he actually plays, we're actually going to save that for the intermediate and our advanced video because it's more of an intermediate and advanced part. And then there's a lot of technical stuff that he does throughout his verses and his intro after the fact. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to learn the basic strumming and the basic chord patterns so that we can play along. And then when we get into the intermediate and advanced, like I mentioned, then we'll get into more detail on how those intricate parts are played. So for the first part, the chords we're going to be using is an A minor, an E minor, the E7 suspend 4, and our C add 2. Okay, now we're going to use certain fingers on how we play these so that it's easier for us to switch. For our A minor, it's going to be the regular 3 fingers, like so. For our E minor, make sure you use fingers number 1 and 2, and I'll tell you why in a second. Now when we switch from our E minor to our E7 suspend 4, finger number 1 is not going to move. We're going to lift finger number 2, just move it down 1 string, and then take finger number 3 and put it down here, right? And then for our C add 2, finger number 3 is going to stay put because this is the way we're going to set this up. And we're going to go take finger number 1, drop it down here to the D string, and take finger number 2 and bring it down here to the A string. Like so. Okay? Now in regular time, this should sound like so. Okay? Now we've got the chords, so A minor, E minor, E7 suspend 4, and then our C add 2. Now let's go through this nice and slow together. We'll play it together, okay? So on the count of 3, A minor, E minor, E7 suspend 4, C add 2. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. E minor, E7 suspend 4, C add 2, A minor, E minor, E7 suspend 4, and then the C add 2. Okay? Let's try that one more time, nice and slow together. 1, 2, 3, A minor, E minor, E7 suspend 4, C add 2, A minor, E minor, E7 suspend 4, C add 2. Okay? Now after he does his first intricate part on the intro, he goes into this and he plays this 2 times before he starts singing. Now once he starts singing, this part is the exact same part he plays for all the verses throughout the rest of the song. So we've just learned basically 1/3 of the song already. Now that we've done that, rewind, play through it again, listen to the parts where I play it in regular time so that you know how the cadence goes, and then we're going to move into the chorus. Okay, so the chorus is going to start on the same chord, the E minor, but then we're going to move into a G, that 4-finger G that we were learning, and then to an E minor, and then to a D. Now he plays this chord progression 3 times, and then he plays a 4th chord progression, which is the 4th line of the chorus, and he plays a little bit differently. So he goes from an A minor to the G again, and then to a D, and then to that C add 2. Okay? Now I'll play it in regular time, all 4 lines, so that you can see the difference between the first 3, which are identical, and then the 4th one, which is different, which ends on the C, which I just showed you. C add 2. Okay, so in regular time, here we go. This is the 3rd time. This time's going to be different. You see that? How it's different on the 3rd time? Okay, now let's learn the chord progression. The first 3 lines, which is going to be the A minor, the 4-finger G, E minor, and our D. Okay? So, on the count of 3, let's play this together nice and slow, okay? A minor, G. Now you'll notice when we switch from our G, finger number 1's already in place to play that E minor. So keep finger number 1 from the transition of the G to the E minor. Keep finger number 1 where it is, okay? Because we're just going to lift the rest off, see? And then put finger number 2 down here to complete our E minor chord. Alright? So again, that's A minor, G, E minor, then down to our D. On the count of 3, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3. G, E minor, D, back to the A minor, 4-finger G, E minor, D, back to the A minor, 4-finger G, E minor, to the D. Okay? Great job, guys. Now let's move into that 3rd line. We'll learn the 3rd line, then we'll put all 3 of them together. Alright, so the 3rd line, first 2 chords are going to be the same with our A minor and our G. Now when we move from the G to the D, finger number 3 is going to stay in place because it's already there and ready for us to play the D. So when we play our 4-finger G, lift everything up and put finger number 1 and 2 down to form our D chord. So finger number 3 doesn't have to move. And now what's good about this is finger number 3 still doesn't move because we're going to move into that C add 2. So we're going to lift finger number 1 and 2 and move them up here in place for our C add 2. Okay? So let's give this a try on the count of 3. A minor, 4-finger G, keep finger number 3 down, then we move to a D, keep number 3 down again, then move into the C add 2. Okay? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. G, D, C add 2. Okay, rewind that a little bit, practice it. Now let's put it all together, okay? We're going to do all 3 lines for the A minor, G, E minor, D times 3 times, and then move into the A minor, G, D, C. Okay? Here we go. On the count of 3. A minor. 1, 2, 3. G, E minor, D, A minor, G, E minor, D. We'll do that one more time. A minor, G, E minor, D. Now we're going to change it for the last one. A minor, G. Now we're going to move to the D. D. Now the C add 2. Perfect, guys, perfect. Now that we've learned the chorus and the verse is also the intro, let's move into the last part of the song, which is the bridge. Okay, so the bridge is a little different. It's a little bit of a different rhythm, and it's going to comprise our E minor, then our C add 2, then back to the E minor, then to our D, and a little bit of a quick change to the C add 2. And he plays that twice, 2 lines of that. Now I'll play it in regular time, so you know what it sounds like, and then we'll move into it and we'll play it nice and slow together. Okay, here we go. Now let's do that nice and slow together. So it's an E minor, then our C add 2, then back to the E minor, then a D, and a little bit of a quick change to the C add 2. Alright? On the count of 3, let's give that a try. 1, 2, 3. To the C add 2. Back to the E minor. To the D. To the C add 2. One more time. E minor. C add 2. Back to the E minor. Now the D and the C add 2. Alright, that's the whole thing, guys. Now for how many times he plays each verse, he does a little bit different. So there's the intro where he's not singing, where he plays the verse 2 times. Then the first 2 verses that he sings, he actually plays that progression 8 times. Now every other single verse that he plays through, he only plays it 4 times. So every time after the first verse, you play the verse half as much, and then you go into the chorus right away. And he plays the chorus quite often throughout the song. Okay? Great job, guys. Hey guys, great job learning everything you want by Vertical Horizon. If you enjoyed this video and it helped you, don't forget to check out the rest of our videos here on YouTube and subscribe to our channel. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Good luck.